You've mentioned before the idea of painting for play and then versus to produce. And how do you decide which one is the right time to do which?
The most important thing as a fine artist, I believe, is to be constantly learning. Like every single day, you have to be a slightly better artist than you were yesterday. So what that requires is creating a ton of bad art, doing a lot of studies. Being an artist isn't really about like being proud of what you painted yesterday. It's about being excited about what you're going to paint in a week from now. So a lot of times when I'm in like deep study mode, like student mode, I'm not producing a lot. I don't have a lot of posts that I can like put on Instagram or things I can sell. So I consider that more of like play, exploration, like growth, like a career growth. But then when I have exhibits, I need to kind of buckle down. It's less about like problem solving and guessing. A lot of the paintings, if I look back on my exhibits from the past year, like they're less risky because they have to resolve. Like they have to somewhat be within the toolkit of the kind of art I know how to make. Whereas in my free time, on my playtime, in my like student time,
you're experimenting.
Yeah, I like overwork. I go crazy. I like screw up the colors. I want to see just how deep into a painting I can get. So hopefully, like have something I learn from it. So,
yeah, and I think it's so important that you have, in order to get to the final work, you have to go through that play period where you're experimenting and being risky and maybe creating something bad, quote unquote, right? And I think that's such an important notion to remember, that when you're being a creative person and when you're playing, you may do things that are not perfect, and that's okay because it's going to move you forward.
It's vital.
Absolutely.
Like, being an artist, again, is not about creating great art. It's about constantly questioning what you made, what you did, why you did it, and then looking at a different way of looking at it. So, I'm so new to this, so I have so much catching up to do, too. So, I've not been trained formally my whole life in art. I've been learning obsessively from textbooks and YouTube lectures. So there's just so much for me to, there's so many ways in which I can grow, but more importantly, I don't want to burn out. So I do have to kind of inject this kind of fun element to it, whether it's teaching watercolor workshops or having private lessons, or just making art that is not ever going to get posted on the internet. But it is definitely what makes this career choice very hard to explain to people, because I think it's just kind of this like, oh, you just paint all day. It's like, no, and there's a lot, but part of it is really just like, the experimenting and like the private kinds of art, and not just like the exhibits and the fun stuff.
Yeah.